Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. Okay, so we are on chapter 9. Last time we finished verse 7 and 8. We'll be doing 9 today. And 7 and 8, just the summary of what we did. Krishna Bhagavan was telling Arjun that at the end of the Kalpa, means the end of Brahmaji's life, that's how we see it, everything goes into my Prakriti. There is a dissolution, grand dissolution, you can say. And then he said that I send them forth again at the beginning of the new Kalpa. That means when the new Kalpa starts, then according to our vasanas, we are born again. That's what it means. And then in the 8th one, he said that with the help of my Prakriti, I again and again send forth all this helpless multitude of being. So helpless, we try to understand what it means is that it depends on our own vasanas, whatever it is. In the presence of that Prakriti, it will express. That's how we have to see, by the force of nature. So those were the 2 verses we did. Now today is the 9, so I'm going to chant the 9. न च मां तानि कर्माणि निबद्धन्ति धनञ्जय उदासीनवदासीनम् असक्तं तेषु कर्मसु. Na is not, cha is and, mam is me, tani these, karmani acts, nibaddhanti bind, bandh dena jisko bolte hain, feeling bound. Dhananjaya is the name of Arjuna. Udasin vat, like one indifferent. So Hindi में उदासी किसी को बोलते हैं जब कोई बहुत डिप्रेस हो गया. That's not what it means over here. And we'll see what it exactly means when we do the detailed meaning of it. So it's indifference. Asinam, sitting. Asaktam, unattached. Asakti or asaktam. Teshu, in those. Karmasu is acts. So here in this verse, Arjuna is telling, Krishna Bhagavan is telling Arjuna that, he talked about that he projects, sustains and absorbs the world, right? It goes back into Brahman, but with the help of the Prakriti, of course. And he's saying this, my own Prakriti does not bind me. And what does that mean? So this first line in Nachamam Tani Karmani Nibbadhanti Dhananjaya. So because one way of looking at it is that everything happens spontaneously. Like we say, in the presence of that Brahman, Prakriti acts, and he, the way Nikhilanandji was explaining, it's the nature of the very Prakriti. What is my nature? My nature has a certain qualities of my nature. Same way you can say, even though they say there's no qualities in Brahman, but unki jo shakti hai Prakriti mein, a certain nature is there, and it is he calls it nature of nature. I don't know whichever way you want to put it. Basically, the example he gave was, and we have heard this example so many times, but we have to repeat it because it is appropriate over here. He's saying it's like the sun. What is the sun's nature? To shine. That's it. There's nothing more to it. And within that shining of the sun, the heat and light comes automatically, right? Sun is just there, existing. So, and then when the sun is shining like this, others borrow that heat and light from it. Like the earth, we borrow the heat and light from it. So from that perspective, the sun just exists, and the very presence gives us. He's not trying to give us or anything. It automatically happens. So just try to understand that concept. So he's saying that similarly, it is the very nature of Bhagwan that to project, sustain, and absorb the world. Sorry, did anybody see any? Oh, okay, Nalini ji is here. Okay. So all these action that he was talking about, that happens spontaneously. So another way of looking at it is that Bhagwan says, I'm not involved in it. I don't get affected. That's another way of saying, or don't get involved, because the word he uses, I remain udasin vat. And that means, like I said, udasi, हम लोग बोलते हैं ना उदास हो गया फलाना, वो वाला मीनिंग नहीं है यहाँ पर. उदासीन मतलब विटनेस, साक्षी. So वेदांत में ना थोड़ा मीनिंग चेंज हो जाता है. So we have to understand what they are trying to say. So साक्षी कौन होता है? जैसे we say ना कि कोई एक्सीडेंट हुआ and I'm the witness. That means I'm directly not involved in it. I was not interested from that perspective. I'm just watching it. So one who is not interested, usko udasin bola hai. Disinterested witness. I know it sounds very kind of, how can Bhagwan be disinterested like that? But in this chapter, only later on, Bhagwan is going to say, I'm like your mother, father, best friend and all. But that is at a slightly lower level. They're talking about the highest level. Brahman. Nature of Brahman at the highest level. I'm trying to understand more. So he's the witness. So then how do we... Sorry.
Witness, and couldn't also be like the example of electricity? It gives. Electricity is indifferent to anything, whatever you do with it.
Perfect.
Yet it is.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. That's a very good example. Yes. And many times a lot of saints and sages use that example. That's a very good one. So another example that they use it is like the light in the room. Suppose we used to have our Gita class in the clubhouse, remember? So just imagine that we are having it in the evening, the Gita class, and it got dark, so we turned the light on. So now imagine the nature of that light. The light was just illuminating the room, and we are having the Gita class in it. The light is not telling us, hey, you go and do this or that. It's just saying, okay, whatever you want to do, I'll give you the light. And then after our Gita class is over, another group may come, and they may be playing cards. They may be gambling. We don't know. But light is not interested. Light's job is just to give light. Once we turn the light on, it just gives light. What you want to do is up to you. So that's also a very powerful example. Light is illuminating the activities. It's neither discouraging or encouraging anything. So similarly, you hear the supreme reality is like a light. It just gives existence. And in the very presence of this existence, of this, the drama of this whole cosmos happens. Creation, sustenance, and dissolution. So that's why he said, Udasin vat asina. Asina mein baitha hu wahan pe, witness ki tarah. And उन्होंने एक word use किया asaktam. This is also very asaktam teshu karmasu. Means in all these karmas, I remain asakt. Asakt means another word in Sanskrit, asang. Without any attachment to any of these beings or not. No attachment to creation. It just happens in my prakriti. So why are we saying this over here? Because remember, whatever happens in microcosm can happen in whatever happens in macrocosm, in the samashti, it can happen in vyashti also, in us also. So by following this example of Bhagwan, we can remain free of attachment. We learn how to be, because here is telling at the highest level what is happening. So what Nikhilanandji brought this very important point, that if we totally become like a witness and unattached to what do we get attached to? We get attached to action. मेरे को ये करना है, अगर मैं ये नहीं कर पाऊंगी तो क्या होगा? Getting attached to action. And then attached to doership. मैंने नहीं किया तो कुछ नहीं होगा दुनिया में. मेरे से ही दुनिया चल रही है. That is, getting too extreme. But how we get, we all have this doership. मैं कर रही हूँ, but Bhagwan puts us on the right place. Hey, तुम नहीं कर रही हो, प्रकृति कर रही है. Okay, we'll see some examples that Nikhil Anandji brought. And the third thing that we all are guilty of is getting attached to the result of the action, right? So at all three levels, the attachment is working. And so we have to work at all three levels, not to get attached. And that's where this verse can help us. And if we don't get attached, that is when the action will not bind us. Nobody likes to be bound. Sabko freedom chahiye, right? So freedom kaise milega? When we don't get attached. And if you go back to chapter 3, that's exactly what Karma Yoga spirit was, that we learned in chapter 3. So here Bhagwan, by his own example, is telling you how he works, so we can also try to copy that and become free. Because in Bhagavad Gita, all the chapters are related to each other. He's opening it from different angles. And because Bhagwan is saying, look, this is seen in all his activities, also Bhagwan's activities, that by his mere presence things happen. So then one very simple example, and all of us have played like that when we were young with a magnet in India. Magnet leke, or then there was some iron ka chura jaisa hota tha. And then you move that magnet, glass ke niche se karte the hum log. I don't know if you guys have done it. I remember doing it. So he's saying just in the presence of that magnet, those iron things start dancing around, right? So he's saying dancing and jumping. So same way, when the presence of that consciousness, the whole world starts jumping around. And the other example that he gave, which is happening right now, is the spring season. The moment the spring season comes, what happens? Everything starts blooming. New flowers come and all different flower, fruit, this, that. And then spring season is just there. Uske presence mein sab kuch ho raha hai. So these are worldly example, very beautiful example. Spring is really not doing anything. It's just being present, that's all. So he's saying that similarly, the mere presence of God, the creation, sustenance, resolution in the whole world takes place, okay? And then he was just saying that just like we have to experience the same thing within us also. Because, we are miniature form of God only, according to Vedanta. We're made of the same substance. So, because there's no difference between that. So then what he was saying that, suppose if we are observing our body, giving an example that we think that we are doing it, but he's going to tell you that if you watch your own breathing, they will say. वैसे हम लोग को breathing याद नहीं रहता. कोई बोलता है, hey, are you in the beginning, suppose somebody says, are you breathing? You say, yes, I'm breathing. And I'm breathing, right? I'm breathing. That's how you will feel. And if you keep observing, you will realize that you're just a witness. Breathing is happening on its own. And how do you prove breathing is happening on its own? You feel almost as though somebody else is doing the breathing, right? And then he's saying that the reason we feel I'm breathing because I'm so identified with it. That's why I feel. But if you really think about it, when we are sleeping, we are not making any effort to breathe. It's happening automatically, right? So that's the proof that I'm really not doing it. Nature is doing it. Or when you become unconscious. Suppose if you're having a surgery or something and they put you in, then who's breathing? So nature is doing it. So many other things also in us. Digestion. We just keep eating. We keep eating and nature is doing the digestion, right? Or like sometimes, the mother will say when a woman is pregnant, oh, I carried the baby for 9 months, blah, blah. But actually, really speaking, when the baby is in the womb, you're not really doing anything. You're just eating regular, you're eating healthy, you're creating the atmosphere. But nature is doing everything. You don't even know what is happening inside, So all these are like proof that nature is doing, but we kind of start feeling that we are doing it. Because it's the very nature of the Prakriti to do this, So now expand this whole idea to the body, mind, and intellect. So this is body, mind, and intellect is doing everything in the presence of consciousness. That's how we have to look at it. So thinking, feeling, all that is happening according to the Prakriti, and Supreme Self is just a witness. So these are all different things. And then how do I feel I'm the doer because I identify with this whole act. That's why I feel like I'm doing it. And Nikhilanand ji gave a very brilliant example that we will identify with this, saying that suppose a father is driving the car, right? And the child, a small child, is sitting in the back, and he has given him like a toy steering. Okay, so the child is sitting in the back and he's saying, look, Papa, I'm driving, because he's moving that steering, and he's feeling so happy, and Papa also says, yeah, you are only driving. So he's saying something like that. हमको लगा हम चला रहे हैं दुनिया, मगर दुनिया तो अपने आप चल रही है. टॉय वॉय थोड़ा दे दिया है भगवान ने. So Bhagwan is smiling and he says, हाँ कर लो, तुम ही चला रहे हो. But actually, we are not doing it. I thought he gave such a great example. So he's saying that just remember that body, mind, intellect is in nature is doing everything. So he's saying that with now one more important point, that if we become bound and we feel like we are the doer, that's the time you get the result of your action too. That's why you suffer joy or sorrow, and if we follow Bhagwan's example and become unattached and witness, then those karma phala is not going to affect us. That's the main thing that why we want to do this. So he was reminding Nikhilanand ji in the 4th chapter also Bhagwan mentioned this. Same ideas are kind of opened up more and more, because he was talking about creation in 4th chapter also. And he says that over there he was talking about akarta and akarma and karma and all that definition. So he's saying that in that chapter he explained, I'm just kind of refreshing, you can go back and study again if you like, that it seems like I'm the doer, or I'm creating the world, but actually I'm not. It's just happening automatically. I'm the witness. So this is, I think, is a subtle point. We may not fully understand. That's okay. But if you understand it, very good. Because this theme is going to continue throughout the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. And then obviously this example of the screen is this, Chinmayanand ji is also going to give, and Nikhilanand ji also says, it's just like the screen and the movie. The screen is saying, I'm the witness of the whole drama that is happening. It's projected on me, sustained on me, and it's going to just dissolve into me, but I'm not the creator of it. And I'm not attached. So what is the sar of this whole thing? That Bhagwan is saying, I'm not attached to it. I'm just giving it a support. I support it, but I'm not into it. I don't get affected by it. And then same way the pure consciousness, is Brahman or Bhagwan, whatever you want to call it, that even though he projects the world, actually the Prakriti is doing it. And he's not attached to any of the action or bound by the action. So that is the sar of this. And the next words he's going to explain a little bit more, so it will get more clear, So any question or comment?
I know he's not he's not involved in, yet everything cannot happen without him.
Yeah, that he said it absolutely. No doubt about it. Now without him, we are nothing. Yes.
Yeah.
But it's just that sometimes, we feel that, hey, how can it be? But the worldly examples are also there, no? About the screen and electricity is a very good example. Electricity is,
yes.
And then even gas in the car. Think about it.
Yeah.
If you have an accident, you cannot blame it on the gas. Gas is just, you're pushing the pedal. You can go to your destination, or you can, and then Swamiji is going to talk about steam in the railway, because in those days, abhi to khair wo railway pata nahi aur kya cheez se chalti hai, electricity वगैरह से पहले तो steam engine होता था. So we say that steam, you can't blame the steam if it goes somewhere else, the train or something. That depends on the driver and his motive,
Right. Yeah.
And all that. So all that it's a difficult concept because sometimes we feel that means is God like not involved with us at all? We are just, but that's just at the highest level. Once the God, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, then it's they do get involved, because that's why Krishna Bhagwan took avatar. Okay, if something is wrong, he will come and help us, and he has this anxiety of all of us should merge with him and things like that. But he's trying to make us understand from the very, very highest level in Vedanta that what it is. And
essentially, if we see, we are just objects. Everything is objects. The whole world is.
Correct. Yes. There are some times when people have not studied the Vedanta thoroughly, they get a little confused about mind and intellect. They think it's not non-matter. But here they're telling you it is subtle matter. Yeah, they are objects. And even your feelings, thoughts, everything, because anything that comes under the realm of Prakriti or nature is different from consciousness.
Yes.
Yeah. Or other way to look at it, whatever we experience, whatever we see, whatever we feel like we know, that's part of the Prakriti, and consciousness is separate than that.
Yeah.
Whichever angle you want to take to understand this concept, you can take it, Yes. Any other question, comment? Anybody wants to add anything? Okay. Who would like to read? Any volunteers to read? Okay, here's Sushil ji. Oh, but usually I thought you have the new book now? Oh, great. Yes. Okay.
These acts do not bind me, O Dhananjaya, sitting like one indifferent and unattached to these acts. In the case of limited ego, its egocentric actions.
Wait, which one are you reading? Isn't it 9? Says sitting like one indifferent?
No, this is, which one, what do you have, yours?
It's I have verse 9, the English translation start with sitting like one indifferent and unattached.
But this one is different then.
Really?
This one says, these acts do not bind me, O Dhananjaya.
Okay, ठीक है. I think वो second line पहले कर दिया. ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं. चलो. You can start. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
These acts do not bind me, O Dhananjaya, sitting like one, indifferent and unattached to these acts. In the case of limited ego, its egocentric actions leave behind their impressions, which ultimately pursue it as unavoidable reactions. All egocentric actions, which are always motivated by selfish desires, leave behind their ugly footprints upon the shores of the mind, vasanas. While actions which are not ego-motivated leave no trail, vasanas, as birds leave no footprints as they move along in the sky. We can compare an ungrateful son kicking his own father with an innocent child in a playful mood kicking its own father with both legs. A philosopher's subtle vision is not necessary to understand the difference in the texture between these two persons performing the same action. Wherever and whenever an egocentric action whipped by selfish desires is undertaken, gross and painful reactions must necessarily ensue.
So what Swamiji did over here is he directly went to the core of the whole thing, why they have that. He just reminding us that we studied in chapter 3 in Karma Yoga and 3, 4, and 5, that how does these selfish actions versus what you call the actions not motivated by selfishness, unselfish actions, you can say. The selfish actions are the ones that give us more vasanas. If you do it, जिसको बोलते हैं लोक संग्रह के लिए, why do all these self-realized souls work so hard? They're not doing it for themselves. They are doing it for the rest of the world, because they think that the Bhagwan is everywhere. It's like they look at the whole world as their own extension. So if you do it from that bhav without the doership, just help, then it does not create binding. It doesn't create vasanas. But if you do it with selfish action, it creates footprints, impressions in us. And then, just like example is so beautiful that when the birds fly in the sky, they're not leaving any footprints. When we walk on the sand, it creates footprints. So, these karmas don't create any footprints if they are. And then he's just telling you that there is a small child kicking the father. They're not going to mind, but as some child with, like, he's getting older and now he's very angry and then he kicks the father, we know the difference. That's how it is. So he's just telling you that motive is everything in the action. That's why he told Arjuna that you fight the war as you're in a karma yoga mode and it will not bind you. Tumko paap nahi lagega. He has to kill so many people, including his grandfather and all, right? How can you do that? Because you're the soldier, that's your duty, and you don't do it for selfish reasons. You do it for lok kalyan. Like that, you have to see. So that's what he's saying, that this whole verse is pointing towards that. Not to do it in this mode. That's what he's saying.
In the case of eternal animating its Prakriti and projecting out again and again the multitude of beings, there is neither any attachment, raga, nor any aversion, dvesha, and therefore, by this mere happening on the eternal, the Supreme is not affected. These acts do not bind me.
Does it say it is neither egocentric nor desire motivated? Okay, in mind they have this one more line.
No.
Okay, that doesn't matter. Just make it more clear. It's neither egocentric nor desire motivated. So he just, this is another thing very, very important in Karma Yoga. If you go back to chapter 3, that he said that don't come under the sway of your likes and dislikes. That was a very important way to start the spiritual journey, because that becomes, rag and dvesh, likes and dislikes take more and more stronger it gets, and then it becomes love and hate and all that. And we went through the whole exercise, because that's what creates more and more impression, and then it covers your wisdom, all these things, agitations in the mind because of raga and dvesh. So he's just saying that how he is acting, he's giving his example, that how Brahman doesn't have any rag or dvesh, and we saw different examples. It's just there. You can make use of it the way you want, but he's not involved like that. We have to, if we keep doing our duties without rag and dvesh, I have to do this, I don't worry about the results, leave it in God's hand and all that, then we can achieve the same thing. That's what he's trying to say.
However tragic and murderous the play may be, however tearful and sad the story be, however rainy and stormy the scene be, the white screen in the cinema hall at the end of the play carries neither the marks of the blood split, nor the stains of the tears shed, nor the wear and tear of the storm raged. At the same time, we all know that but for the changeless screen, the story could never have been unraveled through the medium of light and shade. In the same fashion, the ever-pure infinite, as the self, becomes the enduring platform for the drama of sorrow that is expressed in the language of the plurality, enacted by the infinite vasanas, helplessly repeating their parts learned by them through the hours of their empty yesterdays.
So we have seen this so many times now. Everybody probably knows this example so well. Movie and the screen. कोई भी movie हो, screen को कुछ भी नहीं होने वाला. You know, murder भी हो जाए तो there'll be no blood stain. Storm आ जाए, it will be still perfect and all that. So this is how the highest level the consciousness is. That it is just, but like Meena ji was saying, without the screen you can't see the movie. Without the consciousness, world won't be. So that's how this is the example.
The steam in the engine is not punished for the disaster of derailment, nor the steam is complimented when the train reaches the destination in time. It is very well known that neither the disaster nor the successful accomplishment of the journey could ever take place without the steam. The engine without the steam is inert. The engine without the steam is inert iron of a particular shape, dull and heavy. It's the steam that dynamizes and renders it capable of action, of cruel destruction, or kindly construction. Since the steam in the engine has neither an anxiety to move the train nor an aversion to move it, the steam is ignored in the achievements of the train, whether good or bad. In short, it is the motive behind the action that determines its reaction.
So we saw this example, right? The steam and the engine, without steam, engine cannot work, but you can't blame the steam. So then I think the main thing over here is the free will. God is telling you, I have given you the intelligence, I've given you the free will, I've given you the power to do. Now it's up to you, up to your motive, how you want to, function in this world. And the whole path is given in Bhagavad Gita. He already told Arjuna what to do. But in the end, again, he told Arjuna, I've told you everything, now you do what you wish to do. He still did not force him. And then Arjuna himself decided, okay, I'm going to follow your path. That's it. So that's what it is, that we have been given. I think there was one statement that we use with the children, that God gives us, not apple, but apple seeds. He says, okay, go now, grow. So we have to put the apple seed in the ground. We have to fertilize this, ये नहीं कि apple हाथ में दे दिया ला खाओ जाके. We know the struggles in our life that we have to do, but in what motive you want to do, that's up to you. That's what the basic message is trying to tell you.
The self is the source of all dynamism. It dynamizes the mind. Each mind is a bundle of vasanas. Good vasanas make the mind sing the song of joy and harmony. Bad vasanas in the mind make it groan with sobs and tears. The needle in the gramophone is not responsible for the song that the record sings. As the record, so the music. Similarly, the self is eternal, is unmindful of what type of world is projected forth, nor is it anxious in any sense of term to create a better world. Sunlight illumines whatever happens to be there in its light, be it a murder or be it martyrdom. Neither the glory of the martyr nor the crime of the murderer can reach the sun. The self, as pure consciousness, illumines the vasanas and lends them the capacity to project out, be it for the damnation of themselves or for their own self-glorification. Sitting as one neutral, unattached to these acts, the self reveals in the realm of its lower nature, Prakriti.
So I think Swami ji ne itne sare examples sab de diye. That tells you one thing. We cannot blame God or anyone else for what happens to us, because it's our own vasanas, own action, our own decisions, 100%, and that's the message I'm getting from this. Because it's just saying that, and that example of, that अभी तो खैर gramophone वगैरह वो कुछ भी नहीं है, सीधा क्या बोलते हैं, Spotify and YouTube and all that, you just press the button. But even in there, you say, oh, दुनिया इतनी खराब हो गई है, if you keep going and watching those things, then that's your fault. तो दुनिया में दोनों हैं, right? There's pravachans also there and all the bad news and somebody screaming profanities for any religion. All kinds of things are there. It's up to you, what you want to watch. But if you go back, we all have experience with gramophone that, needle just plays the song that there is. So whatever is within us, that's what comes out. So in the end, if you have not so good vasanas, we change it to better ones. And in the end, we have to get over all the vasanas, obviously. But the method is from bad to you go to good. And that's how you kind of. And I think there was one more, I remember, statement by Swamiji, which is a very powerful one. He said that you are the architect of your own life. Why he said that? Because a lot of us got our houses built and all that, huh? So you give a design to the builder and then the builder builds it, right? And then after you see the house, you say, ये क्या बनाया है? So the builder will say, hey, you gave me the blueprints and I'm making exactly the way you want. You want something different? Give me a new blueprint. Then I'll make it. Right? So it's like we have created this blueprint by doing certain actions, and then I hate my life. Why is it this or this is happening? Hey, that is you have done it. So if you want different, then change the blueprint. I like that example a lot, So that's what it is. Come back. Responsibility is yours if you don't like something. It's a very powerful statement. I don't know what you guys think, but anyway. Any comment, question? Anybody wants to add anything?
So, Umaji, we are the architects for our future life, right?
Yes.
We are creating the footprints.
Yeah.
So don't blame anybody else.
Absolutely. And the other very, very powerful thing is that you may be doing whatever, that Brahman is as pure, but we are that. So that's another way of looking at it. Even if something, we don't know sometimes, right? We don't have that kind of wisdom कि हम सब कुछ करेंगे वो सभी सही होगा. Imagine, right?
Yeah.
कभी हमारे से गलती भी हो सकती है. So if we do, then we don't need to be feeling so guilty, so this thing, say, okay, drama is happening, but I'm not that. थोड़ा कम हो जाएगा, I think, pain.
Come hota hai, but you still think about it. Lekin the more you think, you're deeper, you're creating your more vasanas. They're going deeper and deeper within you. If you just leave it, okay.
You leave it, exactly. Yeah.
Mistake हुई है, तो उसको छोड़ दो, और समझ गए, छोड़ दो.
Exactly.
वो होता नहीं है. I cannot do it. I mean, I don't know about others, but it's hard.
It's hard for everybody, I think. But, in the West, they have that serenity prayer. That is the best, which says that, if you can change something, then change. And if you cannot change, then accept it. And then have the wisdom to know the difference. Because there are things that we can change, we should change. Right? That's the whole idea. That, change your vasanas. There are certain mistakes जो हो गई हम कुछ नहीं कर सकते उसके लिए.
Right.
Or things are not in our hand, Which family we are born, in the end, there are certain major things in our life. We don't have that kind of control. Where we live and things like circumstances happen. So we are there. So
well, that's what we created. Now we have to go back and think. That's what we created. And
true. But, what I'm trying to say, I guess, is that in free will also we have limited freedom. Like if I want to, luckily अपने इंडिया में ना हम लोग माँ बाप को काफी, like हम लोग accept करते हैं, और अगर उन्होंने डांट भी दिया कुछ भी कर दिया we accept it. यहाँ के जो इतना conflict होता है. Yeah. Oh, I hate you, this, that, and I wish I had a different parents, ये वो. You can't change no matter what you do. Right? That's what I mean. या तुम्हारे कौन भाई बहन है, तुम्हारे, spouse, whatever you may call it. Spouse को तो बोला, okay, it's a legal relationship, so you can break it. But parents, you can't. They'll always be your biological parents. That from that perspective, I was saying that there are things that you can change, things you may not be able to change. We know the difference. And in the end, that's why they say live in the present. Don't have regrets of the past.
Yes.
right?
That's
Because
very
at
important.
that time, you did what you thought was right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now you're thinking, oh, no, but that's how your mind was at that time. What are you going to do?
Yes.
Yeah. So many things are there in this. It's just packed with many angles, you know.
Yeah.
But trying to learn to be a witness, it's a very hard thing to do because not getting involved. They are not saying don't do your duties. See, that's a very important thing because कोई समझेगा कि don't get involved मतलब कुछ करो ही ना. No.
Not inaction. Yeah. Yeah.
Inaction is not acceptable to Lord Krishna.
Yeah. Yeah.
हाँ, तभी उन्होंने महाभारत में देयर इज अ इंसिडेंट कि उनके जो भाई थे ना बलराम, वो जब युद्ध हो रहा था तो चले गए थे बिकॉज मैं नहीं देख सकता. हम लोग होते ना टू मच बाबा, आई कैन नॉट हैंडल इट, भाग गया. एंड देन जब वो दुर्योधन और भीम का युद्ध हो रहा था ना तब आके वो टपक पड़े वहां पे. एंड देन ही वाज स्कोल्डिंग भीम कि तुमने ना रूल्स तोड़ दिए ये वो, बिकॉज द होल स्टोरी इज कि जंघा पे नहीं वार कर सकते हैं इन द फाइट. पर कृष्ण उसने प्रतिज्ञा ली थी और कृष्ण भगवान ने बोला तोड़ो इसकी जंघा बिकॉज उसको तो हराना ही पड़ेगा तुम्हें. तो एक तरह से रूल ब्रेक किया था, पर क्यों ब्रेक किया वो बलराम को नहीं मालूम, राइट? So then he is giving all his, you are my student and you have broken the rule and तो मृत्यु दंड मिलेगा ये हुआ. तो कृष्ण भगवान ने बोला था तुम कहाँ थे जब सारे प्रॉब्लम शुरू हो रहे थे, भाग क्यों गए तुम, मेरे से देखा नहीं जाता करके भाग गए. क्या क्या हुआ तुमको पता भी है, right? So that's what it is, that you can't run away. Sometimes there will be mistakes and you will, or sometimes you have to do certain things which are not very comfortable. But you have to face. And Krishna भगवान ने भी बहुत कुछ face किया, right? उन्होंने गांधारी का शाप ले लिया अपने ऊपर, because of Gandhari was very upset that you couldn't stop the war. So, but he didn't go behind and he said, okay, I'll take the shop also.
He did.
Yeah. So all these things kind of tell us that how to manage our life. It's not bed of roses by any means.
Yeah, true.
but just to be the witness, just to not be attached, try to. More we do, more I think we'll be at peace.
Umaji, is it true that whatever we do in this life is a blueprint for the next life?
Yeah, for the future, absolutely. So I think that's exactly why that whole karma yoga Krishna Bhagwan taught Arjuna, do your actions with not selfish motive, selfless motive, then your blueprint will become cleaner and cleaner.
Yes.
You will love your home. That's
Maji, the amazing thing is when you use the example of blueprint, you can constantly revise it.
Yes. Yeah. But only you can revise, because the builder will say, hey, that's your job. How you want to. So you are the architect. We cannot hire any other architect like we do for the real homes. Here we have to do it.
Umaji, last time when we met, we were joking about this thing that between husband and wife, don't blame each other. This is, you chose the other from your vasana, so it's okay. Don't blame each other, or don't blame the other one, because you are the one who chose. पर आज आपने उसके साथ में एक और लगा दिया कि it's illegal, so you can break it or whatever.
अरे वो हम लोग को जो लीगल
I thought that was a big funny thing. So.
It is, but the thing is, this is the reason I was saying, because ये law ने बनाया है, पर हमारे शास्त्रों में तो कुछ, I don't think there is such thing as a divorce. Is there? I don't think so. There is, right? है तो बताओ, मुझे नहीं मालूम. बस हो गई शादी तो हो गई.
उमा जी, हमारे शास्त्रों में तो लिखा है कि not one life, you are tied for 7 lives.
अरे आप आए नहीं थे, वही पूरा डिस्कशन वही हुआ था, 7 लाइफ सब. या कई लोग घबरा गए और कई लोग खुश हो गए और कई लोग ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है?
somebody was praising his wife, and then he said, "Well, I have 6 more lifetimes." Then the wife said, "I'm hoping it is the 7th lifetime."
पर इसमें कोई शक नहीं है कि the longer you live, you realize कि कुछ तो कर्मों का connection होगा, you know, that people are together, you know. But I think that when you start accepting, you know, each other, then you really kind of becomes easier, I think, in life. And then there is in the Western world also, there is a joke that, you know, before marriage you choose somebody because they are different from you. You know, you get attracted to somebody because you find something complementary in the other person. तुम्हारा एक स्वभाव है, उसका दूसरा है, and you find it exciting. You know, and then moment you get married, you want that other person to become like you. That's not possible, you know. You know, so
एक और बात है ना कि before marriage your thinking is what can I do for you. After marriage, what can you do for me?
yeah, right. If it changes, you know, obviously. And I think that before marriage, because, you know, it is like a, how should I say, this is just a joke, huh? So don't take it seriously. But there is some truth in it too. It's like the nature is wanting us to be together because it's a karma ka bandhan hai na, right? So nature has to do something so that create circumstances so you connect with each other and marry. Right? बाद में जो भी conflict आएगा, ये आएगा, वो आएगा, that's part of the spiritual progress. I know, अगर सब कुछ एकदम smooth होएगा तो कोई progress भी नहीं होएगी. Right? So in that conspiracy of nature, for a while, we like everything about the other person. You know? That's why we marry, right? सब कुछ, like, you know, like my dad used to say कि सारे circumstances conducive हो जाते हैं. माँ बाप मान जाते हैं और you know सब हो जाता है, and then you get married and फिर शुरू होता है you know, conflict, because conflict is part of life, you know. So that's what I was saying, that, you know, it's a nature's conspiracy to bring us together.
Gaur Gopal Das says, शादी से पहले आंखें बंद होती हैं, शादी के बाद आंखें खुलती हैं.
Yeah, I think he has many jokes on relationships.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he really makes you laugh a lot. Yeah, and किसी ने बोला कि अरे ये स्वामी इसको कैसे मालूम, हाँ, right?
Yeah.
कि भाई ये सब कि ये तुम्हारी तो शादी नहीं है, तुम्हें क्या पता? तो बोलते हैं हमको तो सारी गुप्त बातें आके सभी बताते हैं. So हम लोग को तो मालूम नहीं है ना, we think we are the only ones. उनको तो सभी जाके बताते हैं, ओ ये दुख है, वो दुख है, ये relationship problem है. So they have so much experience of hearing everybody, so that's why they can joke about all these things, you know.
So you think, Umaji, that one should live even if there's conflict with the same person?
I think that I would say that if it goes extreme in some kind of a physical abuse, mental abuse is there, that's why you have all these laws and all that, okay? But ये नहीं कि छोटी-छोटी बात पे, okay, you know, you start having conflict, because if you don't have that feeling of sacredness and or something, then you will not compromise that easily. That's how I think, you know. Because even in the olden days, they may not have क्या बोलना चाहिए, तलाक वलाक ऐसा कुछ, मगर अगर extreme cases में तो people got, you know, separated also.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I mean, even in Ramayana, you know, after कैकई ने जो हंगामा किया और रामचंद्र जी को भेज दिया, उसके husband ने, he kind of got separated from her and said, I don't want to do anything with you. उसके बाद में there is an incident, it seems, where the father from the heavens came and talked to Ramchandra ji, because, you know, they said they could talk, you know, even if you have gone in another, they could connect with that world. And that's where Ramchandra ji asked his father asked, you know, some vardhan or something. He's saying, you forgive my mom, Kaikai, you know, and he forgave her. So those kind of incidents are there. Kind of interesting. But I think that small things, you don't need to bother. Or try to change that person.
I always wonder that those who do like what we call bad deeds, right? I mean, do they think that they are doing bad things? Those who are killing people, murdering?
No, they're not. They think they are doing. I mean, ये जो terrorists वगैरह हैं, they think वो तो भगवान का काम कर रहे हैं, स्वर्ग में जा रहे हैं, पता नहीं क्या क्या सोचते हैं पागलों की तरह. You know, ये उनकी बुद्धि ढक जाती है with their own strong desires and बोलते हैं ना ignorance की वजह से. And when we study Bhagavad Gita deeply, they will talk about 3 different kind of ignorance. You know, tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic. And tamasic is such a deep ignorance, you don't even know that you are doing. Or तुम कुछ उल्टा काम कर रहे हो और तुम सोच रहे हो मैं तो बहुत अच्छा कर रहा हूँ. You know? So true, there are all kinds of people in this world. Yes. But in the big picture, it's like a whole karmic connection, and we won't understand that whole big picture. Nobody has a capacity unless you have a moksha or something, then it's a different thing. You become one with, and then you have like these people who come back from NDE experience. I don't know how many of you hear about them. They will tell you that when they have the life review hota hai, you know, they talk about life review. उसमें उनको सब समझ में आ जाता है. मैंने किसको दुख दिया, किसको हैप्पीनेस दिया, और जब मैं किसी को दुख दे रही थी तो उसको कैसा फील हो रहा था. Everything you know. But at this stage we don't. You know?
Wish we did.
Yeah, but it's a journey, you know, it's a journey. And if you become more sensitive, then you know. You know, sometimes when we say something to somebody, we kind of know inside that's going to hurt him. But हम लोग अपने आदत से लाचार होते हैं, we still say it. You know, it just comes out. That's why they always say that if you're angry, then take a chakkar of your house or wait for a few minutes or something, you know. So many different aspects are there.
Most Russian novelists, in their novels, they have basically said that suffering make you realize many things.
Really interesting. Yeah, I think that whether you study the Shastra or by your own experience, you come to the same conclusion, right?
Yeah.
That because sometimes when suffering happens, that's when you really want to know the basic questions of life. Why am I here? What is this? And why this is happening? And the growth also happens.
And you understand suffering, not only your own, but other people.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And then you will be more sensitive to, you know, there is sometime we used to discuss, you know, like abhi to hum log public transportation mein, you know, travel nahi karte hain. But sometime, you know, you go in a public transportation, say in India or Europe, and all people do that. And then somebody is in a really bad mood and they are being very rude to you. And you think, kitna kharab aadmi hai. And then later on you find out that there was some death in the family, or the person's wife is really sick, or so he was under so much stress that, you know, and then you feel, oh my God, then, you know, if I was like this, I would behave the same way. So you don't know,
Right.
you know. So you have to become just, best thing is that if somebody is having a bad day, just kind of leave them alone and don't kind of indulge.
Mati, what you said is very, very powerful. Before we react to somebody's behavior, we should just take step back and think why he may be doing it.
Right. And then moment you think, oh, maybe he has something really bad going, and then you don't feel, you will let that person go also, okay, tum hi chale jao pehle. You know?
Yeah, bilkul.
Yeah. So I think those are good, important things. Any other point before we close? Okay, we'll close Bhagavad Gita then. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhya moksha ishyami ma shuchah. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.